Excuse me. Hairball. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone above, below, or in between. Welcome back. And today, had an interesting conversation. Mostly, we were talking about the mainstream media making themselves obsolete. But I decided to talk about Barack Obama's exit speech, and other folks decided to chime in on that and remind me of that. And for whatever reason, I feel like doing a show on it, you know. I can't stand Obama. I don't even like him for 5 seconds, as it's typed in and stated right there. I hope he lays low after leaving office. I really do. There's a number of reasons for that, but the number one reason that sticks out in my mind is you got back like 94 million, if not 100 million, probably more, probably 3 times that amount. But you got 100 million people out of work. Okay, and it's been that way for, I'd have to say, probably 8 years. 8 straight years, man. Since he took office, you can clock this all the way back to 2008, 2009. I forget which year, but Lowe's got rid of 50% of its staff. I think it was Lowe's. I'm pretty sure it was Lowe's, but yeah, there was this one company, they fired or retired 50% of its working staff. 50%, and that was the minute Barack Obama took office. You know what I'm saying? So that's all across the board, the entire country, and it just got worse every single year after. Now, if after Barack Obama leaves office, if you're a guy my age, you know, like getting into your later 30s, getting into your early 40s or whatever, it's not too big of a deal. If you survived all that, you're probably just looking forward to live and let live, and just get back to your 9 to 5, get back to getting your house, or get your house back, or whatever. You know what I mean? For all those kids that were going to college and acquired a sizable debt and have nothing to show for it but move back in with your folks and work at McDonald's whenever there is a job, and you only do that for a small amount of time, and you got like $40,000 of debt, $50,000 of debt, that's a completely different situation altogether. So because of that, I have to cross my fingers and hope that Barack Obama lays low. Because as far as I'm concerned, that sucker's nuclear. It wouldn't take long before one of these youngsters actually got a clue and decided to pop off and go nuts. Because we've already been seeing a few youngsters act up. You know what I mean? Like that one insane kid. And yeah, he's crazy. But that one insane kid that went into a church and started killing a bunch of folks. Yeah, that's one kid. We got another guy that went to an airport. Supposedly he's a vet. I don't know how true any of those backstories are. Remember the Orlando shooting? Yeah. Did that kid look like he was over 30? I think not. We also had the Dallas cop killer pop off and go nuts. And again, yeah, the two of those are related to the military, but there's been all kinds of stories of the youth just acting up. Look at all the protests and all the youngsters burning down their own damn city. You know, like Baltimore or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of those protesters, they came out from different areas, different states. You know what I mean? But it's enough to get all the kids riled up. Because yeah, I mean, what do you do when you got like 40 grand in debt, 50 grand in debt, 100 grand in debt if you're an engineer or you're a doctor or something? You know what I mean? Like straight up. How do you justify that? You know, 20-something years of age, and you just went through college, and people told you that it was okay to spend that money because there's going to be a job, a big payoff at the end of it, right? And there ain't no job by the time you get to the end of that rabbit hole, right? Rabbit hole just gets, there is no end to that rabbit hole. It just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Those younger kids, yeah, they might pop off. They might go nuts the minute they put two and two together, which I suspect they've already done after the first 4 years of Obama's administration. And recovering from that, yeah, the first 4 years, there's a way to recover from that. But 8 years, not a chance. You're talking about a decade, folks. Talking about a decade. All that debt, and it just keeps on stacking up and stacking up with interest or whatever. I can't imagine. I can imagine. Best years of your life cashed in. You were 20-something when Barack Obama took office. Now you're 30-something. That's the best years of your life. I can't even imagine, folks. Thankfully, a lot of us folks are living longer these days. We're living healthier, and there's been lots of information that's been discovered to keep people functioning like a 20-year-old if they're getting close to 35, 40-ish. There's a lot of info for that, but yeah, you actually have to be making something to be feeding yourself a decent amount of food, to be working out. You have to have that mindset. You have to want it, right? Oh man. But that's a completely different argument for a different day. Yeah, it will be interesting to see some of the older guys. If any of us actually survived. I mean, I lucked out. I lucked out because I'm kind of old-fashioned. I try to build some semblance of family wherever the heck I try to go. You know what I mean? I try to get a posse going. I try to get decent network of friends or whatever. You know what I mean? And when I say family, I don't mean just a man, a woman, and a child. I don't mean just that. I mean like a network of friends, people that you can count on. You know what I mean? Going into the same places and seeing that and getting to know all the people that work in all the places that's in your life. You know what I mean? Like you go to a grocery store, you should know every single clerk. You should know the managers. All the restaurants you go to, you should know the manager and you should know the staff that for every single restaurant you go to. Security cops, you should know all these guys, not because of necessity, but because they're in your life. They're in your community. You know what I mean? You should get to know everybody in your general area. These days, people moved away from that. The minute they got their cell phones with the text messages, they moved further and further away from that, and so they're all locked into their own little cell, so to speak. For information, awareness, general surroundings. I mean, just like the other day, I was at a gas station and I asked for directions for the local theater, and I do this from time to time. I know where all the theaters are out here in California, but I just went down there just as a test. That's just a common question that I ask at gas stations. And sure enough, this kid, he had to whip out his cell phone. He had to Google Map it. I was like, straight up, this kid's been here his whole life, and he still doesn't know where the friggin' theater is. I'm like, Jesus. What exactly do you do? You know what I mean? He couldn't just tell me, yeah, you take a few streets down the road and you turn right on whatever the street's name is, and you go down a couple more blocks, and there you are. Just 5 lights and you're there, or whatever the heck it is. You know what I mean? Couldn't tell me that. He had to Google Map it. And it's not to be precise either. It's for he had to Google Map it because he literally did not know where it was. There are several examples of that. If you go around town and ask it, particularly if you're out here in California, if you're in an extremely liberal state, if you go, the old school places, like say, if you're living in the deep south, I suspect the same for the same. I suspect it's different in the Midwestern territories. I suspect that, but I don't know. I haven't lived there for a decent amount of time. But in the southern states on the East Coast, I can vouch that there's a sense of getting to know your surroundings, and that's very much necessary. Getting to know the people around you. You know what I mean? Family, so to speak. There's a notion in a sense of doing that. With the modern generation, yeah, you got a freak ton of debt. You went nowhere in life, and you ain't got no control over it. Yeah, I hope Obama lays low. I hope Obama lays low, because as far as I'm concerned, he's nuclear. We should all stay away from him. But that's just me. That's gonna be all. That's gonna be all I'm gonna say on that. Nothing really to add. I could rhapsodize about it, some other things, but not going to. Just saying, 100 million people out of work, man. And thankfully, Trump's in office, and that's going to be changing. So we'll see what happens. And that's going to be the end of today's episode. Good luck to all. Good luck on your projects. It's going to be the Fox Gibson signing out. Peace.